interdependence is both understanding how to operate in autonomy and freedom and knowing how to connect and rely on other people. There has to be a lot of intentionality in thinking about the things that you typically do for your kids and deciding that you're not going to do them anymore because your kids are more than capable of doing so if you had the patience to actually teach them.
Welcome to The Soul We Share, a space where we explore our marriage, parenting, healing, and growth.
This podcast was born from real conversations we've had in the past and in the present. We're sharing the lessons, the laughter, and the tools we've picked up along the way.
So come plant your roots,
water your joy,
and grow with us.
Interdependence. We used that term interdependence in our last episode when we were talking about love consciousness. And I thought it would be a good idea for us to explore that a little bit more. So we have interdependence, independence, and dependence. And as a value of ours within our family, we value interdependence. And what that is just the understanding and acceptance that we need each other. We need each other to thrive. We need each other to live more fulfilling and joyful lives. We need each other on our bad days. We need each other on our good days. And I think it's truly understanding and accepting that. And that's why it's a value for us as a family, because it honors our relationship as a family to each other and our love for each other and our support of each other.
So what is the true difference there? Yeah, we need each other, but how is that interdependence versus dependence?
So then let's explore dependence.
I think, to me, it's a constant relying on other people to do things for you that you may or may not actually need help with.
I think a really good example is when we made the transition from mommy and daddy doing primarily bath time and the whole like beginning of the nighttime routine to the kids doing that. And for context, our kids are 6 and
3.5.
3.5.
3 and 3/4.
Hello, she's closer to 4 than she is to 3.
3 going on 30.
Oh my goodness. They both transitioned at different points and for honestly different reasons that initiated it.
So about 3 years old, we started
for both
the kids, started to transition them into doing bath time on their own.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand how much more energy I got back from it until we took the time to do it, and then haphazardly would talk to other parents about the fact that the kids were doing it at 3 and realized that it's not necessarily like a common thing for that to be true. But we did. And it's not just here's how you run your water, but it's also here's how you dry off, here's how you moisturize yourself, and here's how you put on pajamas and are set to then start story time.
And I think that was important to understand the process behind that is like, one, where are our kids individually? Is my child at a place where they understand this task? Do they understand the importance of it? Where are they mentally, physically? Are they capable of even executing on the things in which we're desiring them to do now? Mm-hmm. And so with our daughter, she fully understood what was happening. She would want to do everything for herself and would say, I can do it. Capitalize on that.
Yeah, that's a clear sign.
That's a clear sign that they want to, that they have a desire to, that they take pride in doing it. So understand that, receive that as information and data, and do something with the data. And so, because that could truly be a turning point for you and your child to be like, okay, awesome, let me see what you got. And that's literally how it started with her, of just like her wanting to show us that she could do it. Mm-hmm. And so we're like, awesome. And then take it also in phases. So when Jeremy just talked about bath time, drying off, moisturizing, and getting dressed, could be 4 different phases. So it's literally taking steps by steps and making those into like almost micro lessons so that they can first master getting in the tub. Let's like try to see, okay, you did a good job, you clean it between your toes. Like all of these things of just like a check for understanding, a check for thoroughness, and a check for just making sure that they are completing the task.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that breaking those up into steps is like super important. And like you said, paying attention to where they are developmentally, from an emotional standpoint, intellectual standpoint, but also from literally a physical standpoint, the fine motor skills that they need to actually put a pair of pants on and a shirt on by themselves. And I remember explicitly with our daughter, like teaching her to put her pants and her shirt on, and pants were no issue. Pants are always easy, but that shirt, oh my gosh, this girl would have a complete meltdown. Understandably so, when she's trying to put her shirt on and now she's stuck. Now the shirt has trapped her, right? I think every parent probably like understands this moment that I'm talking about, and like she literally feels like she's going to die because she cannot get this shirt over her head. And I legit, when I taught our son, I taught him this one method and it worked and he did it. I had to try 2 or 3 different ways before we found the way that worked for our daughter.
Yeah.
So it's having that patience, but it's also, like you said, not overloading her with, I'm gonna teach you how to take a bath and how to dry off and how to moisturize and how to put your clothes on. We're gonna take it step by step, and we're gonna let you lead in terms of, like you said, letting us know when you're ready to do that, which comes through her legitimately asking if she can do it. And sometimes I ask too, hey, would you like to learn how to do X? Sometimes the kids are taking me up on it and they'll do it. And sometimes they'll try it and they'll be surprised at themselves
That they can do
that
it.
they can do it. And sometimes they'll try it and they will fail miserably, and they would look at me, please don't ever ask me to do that again. And I am eventually, but it'll be for some time before I do. But I think that's just a really concrete example of how we are trying to teach them something that we want them to have the confidence to do on their own. And throughout that entire experience, the kids can always ask for help for any of those things. I would love to hear, like, what is the emotional preparation that you feel like you had to do when deciding, I want to build interdependent children? What shifts that you need to make internally, what healing that you have to do, what reflection that you have to really come to terms with when that was like known to be an important aspect of parenting?
I think the mindset shift in me was them growing up. I think that genuinely was the mindset shift that I had, that they're no longer babies, that they can do more. And I want them to grow up to be fully capable, interdependent beings, them able to cook for themselves and not rely on anyone else to prepare meals for them, how to wash their clothes, and being able to understand the benefit of keeping your clothes somewhat organized so you can at least find things that you're looking for. All of those things are valuable, and it's how you contribute to our community, to our environment. Like, we all have roles in cleaning up, straightening up after ourselves, so therefore you too are part of this community. It's time for you to learn how to do it as well. So I think all of these like examples and ways of being, I just saw them as a sign that they're growing up. So I would say that was my emotional work that I had to do, was coming to terms with that and accepting that means my role in their life is shifting and changing. And that's something that is ever changing. From a mom that I nursed both my kids for a while, and so thankful that I got a chance to do that. And then even from that transition, that was like one of the first transitions. Giving birth was one of the first transitions, but beyond, once they're in the world, nursing them and then transitioning from nursing to not table food, all of this. So I think that my experience as a parent and as a mom has just been these series of letting go, constant cycles of letting go and allowing them to do more and more for themselves. And so that is the emotional work that I had to do, of understanding that my babies aren't my babies. They will forever be my babies, but they aren't developed and capable little humans. And so it's my job to prepare them for this world so that they are not always dependent on mommy to cut my food or mommy to whatever the thing is, fill in the blank. Know that they're able to do some of these things, a lot of these things for themselves, until they're at a point that they can do it all for themselves. And it's only a nice to have. Oh yeah, sure, baby, I'll make your plate. You haven't asked me to make your plate in a long time. Of course. Those different things. So yeah, that was my mental and emotional work that I had to do in order to prepare for that season. And then I think once I was in that season and I made that shift, it was easy to have the patience that it needed to know that it was going to take time.
It made me tap into a part of myself that I didn't even realize. I was telling myself at the beginning that I'm gearing up patience for the kids, but really I was gearing up patience for me. I was gearing up patience for my inner child, the inner child that often didn't necessarily feel like they could take the time to learn to do something that took more time.
How does this concept support our kids and the way in which this value shows up?
I think this interdependence builds the necessary tools so that our kids can do things like go away for the summer to grandparents' house and be able to practice interdependence somewhere else. We have talked about before when we have sitters or we have really close friends or family members babysit our kids. Like, oh my gosh, your kids are so easy, right? Like they do this, they do that, they do this. And like all of that is definitely, we do interdependence because we know that ultimately interdependence is how they're gonna thrive as human beings. And we want, when we do have time with one another, for our kids to still feel like they can thrive without us. There are so many ways that the people that we trust, so many ways that we want them to be able to pour into them. I think for me personally, I'd be curious to see if you feel this way too. The less time that you have to spend pouring into their basic needs, the more love that you can actually spend pouring into their emotional needs, their intellectual needs, their spiritual needs. But if our kids know how to take care of some of those physical needs on their own, it just allows you to, it allows other people to love on them in a really powerful way.
I never thought about it in that way.
Yeah, I just think about it. I just think about energy.
But everyone doesn't feel the same way regarding those tasks as you do. Therefore, there may not be a depletion of energy that happens.
1,000%. Like you said, that could be different depending on different people. Sometimes between being tired and being overstimulated, our oldest calling me and asking me to help him with something that he does every night, if I'm being super real, right? It would bother me. And I think that's just as important to like name the challenges that come with that. How do you really see this concept show up and impact our kids in terms of our values?
I think when we talk about interdependence, it honors the community, and like at our core human nature, we are social beings. And oftentimes in society, we're pushed to be independent creatures and free thinking and all of this. Yes, all of that is true. And at our core, we are also very communal people and communal beings. And when we value dependence or independence over interdependence, I think that's when the communal aspect of who we are and our human nature to want to be in community with each other, that's where that sometimes get lost by the wayside of, I got to put it all on my back. I have to do everything for myself. Even when things are tough, even when I can't do it, I'm the only one. That type of thinking doesn't support us in our family unit. When do I need to be honest with myself? When am I doing more damage on myself or the other relationships of the people in my house because I'm trying to push through and do this thing all by myself and
Absolutely.
not ask for help?
So, babe, as we wrap up our time, what seed are you planting for our soul? What reflection, what accountability, what new belief are you really sitting in?
Being grounded and self-awareness of where you are is extremely important when it comes to this style of parenting, and is in alignment with love consciousness, because all of this is talking about being aware of our own emotional wake so that we can parent from a more centered and grounded place versus parenting from this intense, heightened emotional place. Because I am at that heightened emotional place. I am triggered by this interaction. One of the kids is asking for us to do something that they have done before, and we know in which they've done before. Or what happens a lot, they've done it with you, but now that mommy's asking, there's, oh, I need help, or oh, help. I know you know how to do this. And that's like almost like a game of chicken. But like, it doesn't have to be a prideful game of chicken and coming from a place of pride. And I have seen you do this all these times with your daddy, and I don't understand why you're not doing it. You just do what I say. And that's where the ego comes into play. But it's no, I am aware of that. I can let you know that I'm aware of that. I can do that from a more grounded and level-headed place, and operating from a place of patience with myself and patience with this interaction, because I know that this interaction is going to take some time.